Dark greetings.
Dark greetings.
Yeah, I can plug in microphones. That would help.
Oh, yeah, it would.
Excuse me. All right, now go ahead.
With the dark greetings?
With the dark greetings.
Yeah,
What's up, bestie?
I just realized I was thinking about this like 15 minutes ago or so. I was like, most people must be confused as to why we start every stream by saying dark greetings.
Yeah, it started as a Halloween thing and then it stuck.
Well, no, because it was from
Shadows.
What we do in the Shadows, yeah. Because when we were doing the discussion stream for like one of the seasons, because we've done 2 seasons, haven't we?
We've done at least
2.
The
last one. Yeah, but one of those runs of streams, we were doing it because they do that in the first season, and then it was like, yeah, let's just keep doing it.
Yeah. But tonight we are talking about the movie I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
Yes.
What did you think of this one, Bessie?
What was this?
I mean, I don't know if it was anyone's idea.
Who inflicted this upon us?
Sort of just looked through lists of anime movies and picked from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one that came up a lot.
It did come up. This one hurted.
Yeah. Emotionally devastating, which I mean is what everybody said, like when they would post about it on that Reddit I was looking through, trying to find movies for this month.
Oh, wait, here, actually, let me get a banner up for this.
Oh yeah.
So people eventually don't have to ask.
Remember consistently to do that. Oh, we can also get rid of the old ones.
Discussion.
Look at that.
They are disappearing from my from the menu as we speak.
Yes. I hit the little trash cans.
Oh no, wait.
Oh no.
Oh no, I gotta fix it.
There's a little edit button.
There we go. Yes, I said add.
To which drive are you referring, Bandit?
Which drive?
Also, hello.
Hi, what's up, dude? Yeah. Driving to where? Okay. I like that my first note literally says, why do I feel like that? Like, before I even press play on the movie, I was like, why do I feel like this is going to hurt?
Because that's what everybody said.
I hadn't been paying attention to that. But, and then my next note says, opening with a funeral makes me feel like I'm right.
Yeah, no, my very first one is like, well, this is starting off super depressing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, good. It can only get worse, probably, from here.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, what's up? Nice
Hello.
to see you. A friend from our Discord.
Oh, very cool. Thanks for joining us.
So this is kind of, do we want to spoil what our protagonist's name is right off the bat? Because they spend a really long time.
We don't have to talk about what it means.
Yes, we do not have to do that yet.
That's really the significance. And I'm going to assume most people won't know offhand, so.
This is true. So our protagonist's name is Haruki. Mm-hmm. And it starts off with this narration from him that, like, the day of this funeral was, like, sad and rainy and blah, blah, blah. But he says that he didn't go. And I was thinking, why? Yeah.
I mean, usually when somebody doesn't go to a funeral, I just assume they're too upset to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or I suppose it could have been that he, like, was really mad at her or something, but usually
we spend the entire film, we spend learning why he did not go to this funeral.
Yeah.
But this film is kind of a series of flashbacks that's narrated by Haruki as it goes. But when we first meet Sakura in the library with Haruki, and she's telling that story, that little, like, superstition about how, like, in ye olden times, like, oh, if something was wrong with your heart, you would, like, eat a heart, and that was supposed to cure you. And she tells him, I want to eat your pancreas. I was like, so something must be wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, that seemed pretty clear when she was just talking about, like, oh yeah, this is how they fix stuff, and it's like, oh, this is leading somewhere.
Hmm.
And knowing the title of the movie,
Yeah.
Nick's chance
But
came.
we we jump a little bit forward in time. Haruki is at a hospital to get like appendectomy stitches removed or something,
Yeah,
and
which they
he
just never mention again.
yeah,
It
whatever.
did feel a little weird, but sure.
But he finds this book on the ground and he picks it up and
Mhm.
starts reading it, and the title, like this, there's like a cover on it, and the cover like slips off when he opens up the book, and the title of it is Living with Dying.
Mm-hmm.
And the diary of Sakura, this girl who was with him in the library, and it drops the bombshell that she is apparently dying of a fatal pancreatic illness.
Which I definitely got a little confused about the timeline toward the beginning
Mm-hmm.
of this, because like he's at the very beginning he's talking about her funeral, so I assume they already knew each other and he'd already seen them in the library together. But this
Mm-hmm.
is actually the first time they're meeting,
Yeah.
because he says that later on she applies for the open position as like a library assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that at first, and then it was one of those things, like in hindsight, like a lot of the things that he said and the ways he reacted, I was like, oh, that's super weird.
Yeah.
He didn't even know her.
I thought his reaction to like, because she immediately like comes up to him and it's like, "Oh, you found my book, like thanks." Um but she's like, "Oh, did you read it?" And he says, "Yes." So she's like, "Oh, so you know, like," and his response, I'm kind of on Sakura's side here. His response was pretty callous.
I mean, it was, but it seems like I think most of the things that he says or does that seem that way are part of some sort of defense mechanism that he has,
Hmm.
where he just like cuts himself off and doesn't like allow himself to care about other people at all.
Yeah, and
And so
he
I think
like,
it's just like an automatic, yeah.
yeah, he talks about that later when Sakura like starts kind of like, she sort of decides that they're going to be friends and he doesn't have much of a choice in the matter.
Yeah. Yep.
But
Which typically you think, yeah.
at first I thought Haruki was kind of a jerk.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely, well, yes and no, because he
Hmm.
clearly didn't want to be bothered,
Hmm.
and she was crossing all of his boundaries.
This is true, but
And it's
he's
kind of,
so like aloof.
yeah, but it's kind of like, you know, the thing they say like to women, like you don't have to be nice to strange men who are hitting on you and won't leave you alone. It's a similar sort of, it's
This
like
is very
he
true.
clearly doesn't want to be bothered. He tried to be, you know, cool about it, but then she persists. So I don't necessarily blame him, because he
Hmm.
told her like essentially, this is not, I don't do relationships, you have plenty of relationships, and then she persisted. So you know, I don't necessarily blame him for that behavior. If he was just doing it randomly without, you know, provocation, that's another thing. But
Hmm. And one of the lines I wrote down from Sakura was, "I'll spend the rest of my life hanging out with you." She means it quite literally because her time is
I,
very limited.
yeah, that's one of the notes that I put in here. I was like, this girl is me. Like these are the kind of jokes that I would make if I were in her position. I'd be constantly making jokes about how I was gonna die.
I mean, that's one way to deal with it.
Yep, nope, that's 100% what I do. You know, because what else are you gonna do? Just be sad?
Hmm.
No,
And
take
the next
advantage
thing,
of the comedy gold.
yeah, the next thing that I wrote down was, why does Sakura want to hang out with him so much? And I think now, having seen
Yeah,
the entire movie, like she does bring this up at one point. Like he's the only person who outside of her immediate family who like knows her secret. She hasn't told anybody else that she has a terminal illness because she doesn't want people to treat her differently.
yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, yeah.
I understand where she's coming from, that like now there's this person who knows this big secret, like cat's out of the bag. So I can understand why she was like, okay, I'm going to be friends with this guy.
Yeah, it actually made sense to me pretty much right off the bat, because first of all, nobody knows but her family. right? And so like this is obviously a big deal, right? And you kind of need to be able to say things about it. Or in her case, somebody who likes to make dark jokes like that, she can't do that with her family. And so she has no outlet for that. So now there's this guy, but also somebody that she doesn't really have any attachments to, which makes it a little bit easier to make those kinds of jokes. But also, yeah, I think she particularly liked the way that he was aloof, because it's like, oh yeah, no, I can hang out with this guy. He's not going to treat me any differently. Because a lot of strangers would automatically react with like the eyes of pity, and start talking to you like you're a little child, like, oh, that's,
and like she immediately laughs about it when he says, like, when she's like, oh, I'm dying, he's kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I think that really appealed to her. Like, she was like, because she actually said, like, this is usually where people would be like, sorry, or say something poetic. I think she was like really happy that he didn't do that, because it's like, which I would totally get, right? I would get so tired of people.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry for me.
And like,
so made a lot of sense.
We delve deeper into like her feelings about her fate as the film goes on, but at this point it struck me that like she seems weirdly okay with her situation.
Yeah, I mean, outwardly, what I think is important about this movie is we follow Haruki, like his thoughts, where he goes. You don't get like that inside look into her mind and what she's thinking. And so automatically that makes me suspicious that like, yeah, because again, I would see myself in this situation making a lot of these kinds of jokes, because again, what else are you going to do? But inside just like freaking out.
Yeah. But when Haruki and Sakura have this conversation about, like, they're talking about the way that Haruki views relationships, and I don't know, it sounded like such a lonely way to live to me, like letting all relationships exist only in your head.
Yeah, and I was hoping we'd get an answer to this, which we never really did, but like I was like, did something happen to him at some point in his life? I assumed they were going to have something about like a friend or family member he was really close to who died, and so that's why he doesn't want to get close to others. But it's like, no, he just naturally never wanted to interact with humans.
Yeah.
Had no interest in other people, except unless they are fictional or I guess like historical in books. Which is, I mean, sure. I guess he just instinctively knew how much it would hurt potentially, and
I suppose
didn't want to mess with it. Yeah.
But Sakura drags him on an outing after they, finish up at the library. They go to like this like barbecue, like one of those places that has the little barbecue like table.
Yeah, which if my experience with anime is any indication, is very common.
Noted. But when they're walking home from this little excursion, they are on this little like shopping types, like one of those like pedestrian only streets that's like closed off and has a bunch of like no cars, but there's a bunch of shops and all that stuff. There's a sign that says no biking allowed, and somebody has just ran into an old woman with their bicycle. And I gotta say, tell him, Sakura.
Which is just like fantastic. I mean, we see Haruki acting in the way you would expect. He's like, I'm not getting involved with people. Those are people. Staying away, right? But yeah, no, she gets right in their faces, doesn't seem to care. And it's one of those things that made me kind of wonder, is this a thing that she normally would have done? Or is it because she is dying, right? Like she cares a little bit less because it's like, well, I'm going to die anyway. So if that happens now, it's, what's the big deal?
I will say that guy did deserve the kick in the balls.
Oh, he deserved multiple kicks in the balls. Yeah. But it's satisfying.
I can't remember exactly what made me write this down. I'm assuming it was another, like, because there's this juxtaposition of like Haruki's life versus Sakura's life, as in like where like she's very popular, she has a lot of friends, and he's just
in the classroom.
Yeah, and he's just by himself. And I gotta say, like, his life just seems so empty to me. And maybe this is because I am like a highly social person, that I just couldn't imagine living like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was sort of like that in elementary school because I was super into books. But
Hmm.
I mean, they're like 17.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely by that point in time, I'd be goofing off with my friends and making stupid jokes and, more like what she was doing than what he's doing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, so it is very stark contrast
Yeah.
that he's just with his little books.
And I will say, I really like that the animation, like, I think anime in particular can tend to fall into this trap of like giving characters their one outfit and that's it. But
Mhm.
they frequently change Sakura's clothes, her hairstyle, and I thought that was some wonderful attention to detail.
I think that's more common in movies than in series
Hmm.
because, like, yeah, it's a movie, it's like an hour and 45 minutes. You only have to change outfits so many times. You could just spend a bunch of time working on this one thing versus we're going to make a few hundred episodes.
Hmm.
It's like that's wasted effort, doing that kind of thing.
Yeah. But then we have the reveal that Haruki has literally never had a friend, like at all.
That's so depressing.
I know.
Your
I
entire
just
life,
can't imagine.
like not even just like a stupid like you went to camp as a kid and like
Mhm.
temporary friendship. Like that's so sad.
I don't know. Um, but then, and this is when they're on the like they're on the beach together, and Sakura's talking about how she broke up with her boyfriend. And one at the time, I was like, oh, who is she dating? That gets revealed later.
Yeah.
But she's talking about like how she didn't break up with him because she's dying, like, and I think this is where she's talking about like why she didn't tell her friend Kyoko in particular, because like she would just like all of their remaining she says that all of their remaining time together would be kind of like overshadowed by the
Yeah.
fact that she's terminal.
Yeah, which I totally get. I'd probably be
Hmm.
the same way, right? It's like you just want to enjoy whatever time you have left, and that would essentially ruin that time knowing having everybody know that it was.
Hmm. um but I did kind of wonder like what Kyoko's deal was, because she immediately didn't like Haruki as soon as he started spending time with Sakura.
I never did figure out why she was so mad.
Hmm.
Like I get being protective of a friend, but like she was furious for
Yeah.
seemingly no
Yeah,
reason.
she
Like
was
what did
big
he do
mad.
to you? Like I get that she thinks that Sakura is like out of his league and all that, but it's like,
Mhm.
does that warrant like this level of anger?
Yeah. I don't
So
think
yeah,
so, but that's just
yeah,
me.
I never did quite figure that out. I don't know. I guess I did get sort of the sense in general that she was one of those people who would prefer to have her friend like more to herself than share
Mhm.
her with a boy.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of it.
And I did wind up writing down that like Sakura does have a point about how life wouldn't be fun if she told everyone that she was terminal.
Yeah, no, that would ruin it.
Um and another this was another like verbatim line that I wound up writing down, just because it really like I don't necessarily know why, it just really stuck out to me when Haruki asked her, he's like, "Are you really dying?" And she's just like, "Yep, sure I am."
Mm-hmm. Because again, like, what else are you gonna say?
Yeah. Honestly.
He's like, yep, yep, just like I said before. That is the case.
Mhm.
Like,
But then we get into one of my favorite parts of the movie, which is this whole little weekend trip, like weekend train trip that the two of
yeah,
them take together. I thought it was very telling that Haruki's only luggage was from the bookstore.
yeah. Well, I got the sense he didn't realize it was meant to be an overnight trip.
Yeah, he seemed like that had been kind of sprung on him.
He did refer to it as a kidnapping. So.
This is true. And also just side note, I liked her outfit, her little
Oh
red
yeah,
shorts
I
and her
actually did
top.
notice. I did
It
like
was
that as
very
well.
cute.
I don't normally notice what characters are wearing, but it did seem unique.
Hmm.
Something that actually stood out to me, which is rare.
Um, and when they're on the train and she's writing in her diary and she asks like, "Hey, is this how you spell your last name?" Um, what I wrote down here, because I thought we were never going to learn Haruki's name, and I was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a choice that I find very interesting. I kind of like that. I liked that when, it seemed like they were about to reveal his name, that it's like, oh, they go through the tunnel and she couldn't hear him.
But then she looks so surprised, though, when they came through the tunnel. So it's like, obviously, this has significance of some kind. I figured we would have to find out eventually, but they were saving that significance for, to just really twist the knife at the end or something.
They did. But then we have this sort of fan fiction trope moment of, uh-oh, at the hotel, there's only one bed.
I know. Yeah,
their reservations got messed up and they got comped a nicer room, but there's only one bed in it.
That is a very tired trope, but there's also part of me that wonders if she actually didn't do that on purpose.
She could have.
Because she seemed a little too happy about that.
Mm-hmm. And learning later what one of her bucket list items was also like supports the theory that she could have done that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But
otherwise, very convenient.
When they're hanging out in the hotel room, she goes to take a shower and she yells out to him like, oh, hey, can you get the face wash out of my bag? And he's digging through her overnight bag and he stops and like he's clearly found something and we don't see what it is right away. So I was like, what was that about?
Yeah.
And also Sakura is so funny when he opens the door and hands her the face wash. She's like, by the way, I'm butt naked right now. I love her.
Yeah. It's like, obviously you're in the shower. I would hope so.
She tries to get under his skin in such an endearing way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I like her. And I thought her pajamas were cute. That they had the little cherries on them, and like Sakura's like cherry blossom.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan. See, what I wrote down is they must be over 18 then if they're drinking, because she's like, oh, I got us some stuff to drink, and she hands him a glass of something, and he's like, and he takes a sip, and he's like, wait a second, this is alcohol.
But I specifically saw that she's supposed to be 17 though.
Yeah, so I don't know how they got away with that, but whatever.
How do people here get alcohol under 21?
This is true.
Happens all the time.
Mm-hmm. Haruki surprised me.
17. I think about it.
I mean, I guess this isn't surprising, but his social ineptitude here kind of surprised me because he's never even heard of Truth or Dare. Come on, boy.
He said it sounded philosophical.
Ridiculous.
Like, he legitimately like has certain lines that made me like bark laugh at certain points because they're just referring to it as philosophical. And then she explains the game. He's like, who invented this? Satan?
Yeah, he does have his moments.
But it's so like just deadpan,
Mm-hmm. And I like when I think he chooses Dare or something, and she goes, oh, I was fully prepared to tell you my measurements.
Oh, yeah. He did, I think, 2 or 3 truths first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then his first Dare.
Yeah. But then when things kind of take a slightly more serious turn as the game goes on, and Haruki asks Sakura, like, what's the saddest thing that's happened to you? And she says her childhood dog dying, which understandable. But then he asks her, what's the happiest thing you've experienced? And she says, getting to know you, maybe. Which I thought was incredibly sweet and also kind of surprised me.
It did. It definitely made a lot more sense when you get to the end,
right,
and get some of that explanation. But yeah, at the time, it's like, okay, she knows a lot of people. Clearly, she's very popular. Like, why this one person?
Yeah. I thought that him actually carrying her to bed after she dared him to do it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it is funny that like this is a common sort of dynamic that plays out between them, where she says something where she's sort of like joking and thinks that most people would be aware it's not a thing that you do or say, and then he just does it And she's like, wait, what? Seriously? He has like no social awareness of what is, I think, typical or
Yeah.
not.
And then when she's just sort of like lying on the bed, and for a second it seems like she's fallen asleep and he's a bit like, going and shutting the lights off. And she says, hey, I'm actually really scared of dying. And I was like, yeah, of course you are.
But also I imagine myself in his shoes at that moment, and I have no idea what I would say.
Oh, no, not at all. But this is when we get
deer in the headlights.
That what he found in her bag was all of her medication.
Which was a fuck ton, because there were like syringes and pill packs and...
Yeah, it was a lot. And I was like that was kind of like one of the first of several kind of like gut punch moments in this film where it kind of like reminds you that this is fucking serious business, where I was like, oh, wow, like that's, yikes, that's really fucking rough.
Yeah, which is like, up to this point, you don't really see evidence of her being sick. Like, she seems perfectly fine, right? High energy, being silly. All we get is her word that she says she's sick. They ran into each other at the hospital, but she could have been there for any number of reasons. So then, like, actually seeing all that medication, like, drives it home, I think. Because he asked her more than once, like, are you really dying?
Yeah.
Like, you don't seem like it.
Yeah.
And so I think seeing that pile of medication, like, really actually made
for him as well.
Yeah, not just like, I know she keeps telling me, but like seeing this is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he did actually wind up sharing the bed with her, which was also sweet.
As far apart as possible.
Yeah, as far apart as humanly possible, but he still did it.
I have a feeling he didn't actually sleep that whole time.
Probably not. But then the next morning, as he's like, they take the train back, it's his stop, he's about to leave, and he actually says, I had fun. And Sakura is dumbfounded.
Yeah. It was really nice, because up to that point, again, he sort of seems like a hostage for most of the time they spent together. I guess it's Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, something like that. But then there's this scene like on the stairwell with Kyoko and Haruki where she's talking about how like, hey, like, Sakura seems like she's this kind of like invincible like person who takes everything in stride, but she's not. I think she means well. Yes.
She's a bit too aggressive about it.
Just a touch.
You can have a rational conversation with a person.
I would agree.
And there's a part of me that has, like, I have such reverence for books. Like, I know there's just like paper and whatever, but like, you heard a book, I will. It's like, how dare she make him drop that book?
I know. But then I'm surprised it took Haruki as long as it did for him. What anime or manga you're discussing about? We are talking about an anime film called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. But he finally asks her what her favorite book is, and she says, well, I'm not really a book person, but her favorite book is The Little Prince.
Yeah. Yeah, which
I've never actually read.
I haven't either. It's just one of those things that I'm aware exists, but it's never really been a priority.
I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that has some significance that's probably going over my head because I haven't read it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny that she thought she was she was bringing up a book that he might not even have heard of, kind of like, oh, this bookworm. And of course he knows. Yeah, he's like, you clearly don't like books, because that's one of the like most famous books ever written. Well, it is foreign, so.
This is true. But she kind of lures him over to her house by saying that she's going to let him borrow her copy. And they're up in Sakura's room. They're like playing video games. And she asks him, hey, like, no matter what, you'd never be attracted to me, right? And he's like, that's like, I guess not. That's a weird question. And she says that's a relief.
She specifically asks him if he would ever want her to be his girlfriend, which is important because of what her like bucket list item was.
Yes, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But one of her, so she like kind of jumps him.
Yeah.
Which is like not cool, but also like we find out that one of her bucket list items is to quote do something naughty with someone who isn't her boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, she honestly is kind of cruel to him semi-frequently.
Just a touch.
Because that's really playing with his emotions because like first of all, she like ends up being like, it's a joke, you know, which is messed up. But also to like try to use him in that way without even asking him.
Yeah.
You know, like I try to give her a bit of a pass because she's on, you know, an entire pharmacy's worth of medication and, you know, is going through it.
Yeah, she's literally dying.
Yeah, but yeah, she definitely is cruel to him in a lot of ways, and this was one of those moments that really felt extra cruel.
And when Haruki kind of like, you know, he kind of dashes out, he runs into this guy who starts talking to him and is like, hey, like, you know, what if you're not I know you're not from around here, like why are you in this neighborhood? Are you trying to like, and he specifically asks about Sakura, and that's when we found out it's this guy Takahiro who's like the class representative, and earlier Kyoko had made some comment about like, oh, how he's more boyfriend material, and we actually learned that he was her boyfriend.
Yeah, which like when she said that she had broken up with her boyfriend, he was my first thought, but the way they were talking about him at that point earlier, it sounded, because she was like, oh, he's better boyfriend material, you know, than this guy. Like they hadn't been dating, so I was a little confused.
I suppose she could kind of just be like, oh, you were dating boyfriend material.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So not surprising it was him.
But also, like, fuck this guy. He fucking clocks Haruki.
To be fair, Haruki was clearly trying to provoke him.
Haruki was trying to provoke him. I will absolutely do that.
I mean, he should never have hit him, but I don't know what Haruki was thinking saying that. It's like, my dude, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. But also, his whole thing, like, his sort of Takahiro, his, like, oh, you should, like, I took care of this guy for you, Sakura. Like, you don't fucking know what their relationship is.
Yeah, it's like that like male possessive thing where it's like, this is my person and I will protect them and make the choices that I think are in their best interest.
Yeah, nasty. Don't like it.
Ugh, I hate that. And then really that goes for anybody of any gender. Like, let people make their own choices.
But I think the sort of messiness of the previous interaction between Sakura and Haruki, like, it spawns a big turning point for them.
Yeah.
Because they have, like, while he's, like, you know, out there in the rain, they have this, like, there's this sort of moment between the two of them where, like, something shifts and he becomes much more earnestly her friend.
Yeah, because I think up until the whole situation, like, in her room, like, she was mostly relating to him in sort of a jokey way. All the time, like just really flirtatious and like messing with them and all that sort of stuff. But then when she acts like she's going to kiss him and he's like, just kidding. And he essentially just like pushes her and holds her down. I think that's like her realizing like, oh, wait, he's a person with feelings and I've been taking this too far.
Yeah.
And so I think that realization was kind of, you know, what made a difference. And him seeing her cry in that moment, I think was his sort of turning point too.
Yeah.
That vulnerability of it.
Because the next thing is like this montage of him helping her complete items on her bucket list, which is incredibly sweet.
Yeah. So no longer is she just making him do things. He's doing them of his own accord, which is nice.
But things kind of take a turn. Sakura winds up in the hospital. And he literally, and the funny thing is that Haruhi literally says, he's like, everything was so like normal up until that point. Like you wouldn't know.
Yeah. But again, he knows the kind of medications that she's on too. So he has to know that it's, even if it appears normal, it's obviously not.
Yeah. But I thought it was very sweet that he went to visit her.
Yeah, of course.
And when Haruki and Sakura are talking while like in her hospital room, I think she makes an excellent point about how integral relationships are to life.
Oh yeah, when he they're doing the truth or dare and he asks her like
Mm-hmm.
what does life mean to you?
Yeah, and all of her answers are focused on like how her existence sort of interlocks with that of other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you kind of only know who you are and know the significance of things by interacting with other people and sharing things with other people. Which is interesting because Haruhi sort of does that in his own way. It's just with characters and books.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a one way kind of.
But after Kyoko shows up and is characteristically not happy to see Haruki, but Sakura kind of helps him escape by
that
like
was really funny.
by distracting Kyoko so she can't run after him.
She's like, I will bodily hold you here. Run.
But after everyone's gone, we see Sakura talking to her mom, and she says that she has a favor to ask of her mom for after she's gone. And we don't learn what that is until later, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But this is when Haruki like says in his kind of like we get more of the monologue, like the narration from Haruki, and this is when he does actually say that like he like didn't realize how much he had cared about her up until this happened, and I was just like, oh,
well, yeah, somebody who spent their entire life trust and emotions, it's like you just are so used to repressing that stuff that it takes something like that for you to to be kind of overcome by it and realize it. So it makes a lot of sense.
But the next scene is at night, and she sneaks out of the hospital with Haruki, and they go up to this kind of like overlook where you can see the whole town, like you can see the lights, everything's lovely. And the thing is that she was going to be discharged the following day anyway, so he's like, what was the point of this? Like, why did we have to sneak out tonight? Like, we could have hung out tomorrow when you're discharged. And she says, no, it has to be tonight. And for a couple minutes, you're like, why was that?
Is she gonna die tomorrow?
Exactly. I was like, did she know that she was like, did she know that things were like really, really bad and she hadn't told him? And so like she was taking the absolute last, this was probably the last chance. But it turns out that she just wanted to see the fireworks that were going off because there was like a festival in town.
Yeah, which she had been complaining about having to miss.
And this really reminded me of A Silent Voice.
So much of this movie reminded me of that. I mean, it's a different kind of dynamic, but the relationship, there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah,
and a lot of the events have parallels. So yeah, I thought about that movie a lot during this.
But she winds up like, I can't remember exactly what the context is, but she says like, oh, like when I'm out of the hospital, I want to go to the beach. And I was like, God, please tell me they make it to the beach.
I know. When they start talking about stuff like that in sort of like a hopeful way, that's where things are going to go bad.
It's going to get really bad. But they're going to meet up in a cafe, and he's sitting there reading her book, which very sweet. And she texts him to tell him that she's running late. And he has this kind of moment where he says all these things, like he narrates all these things that he wants to tell her. Like he wants to tell her like, hey, like, I want to take a leaf out of your book and like kind of open myself up to people more. Like you've made me want to change. But what he writes, he just sends her a text that says, I want to eat your pancreas. And we had learned at the beginning of the movie that was the last text he ever sent her. So I saw that and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, which seems like a weird sentence out of context, but that was part of that conversation they had at the beginning of the movie that wasn't just about healing yourself,
Mhm.
but she said something about a culture that believes that if you eat like part of a person, part of their soul lives on in you.
Mhm.
Right. So it's by him saying, I want to eat your pancreas. It's like he wants part of her soul to live
Yeah.
on in him, which is just like,
Oh, I know. Um, but he waits all day for her, which is
yeah,
heartbreaking. And
yeah.
then never in a million years did I see where this was going.
They did sort of foreshadow it.
That's the thing. And I didn't see it coming. Like the plant and payoff was there, but it was
Yeah.
so subtle that I did not see the plant at all. She got fucking stabbed and died.
Which, I mean, when they bring up, earlier in the movie that there's somebody going around just stabbing people and how you have to be careful, and I was like, they're not bringing that up for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow
I
I
like
didn't.
completely forgot.
Yeah, I did make the connection, but only like a minute before it was actually confirmed. I was like, I wonder why she.
Oh
No, they
no.
wouldn't do that.
Um yeah, so but I feel like I don't know. It isn't necessarily like a quote unquote bad choice. Or I don't think it was necessarily a bad choice narratively because like this whole movie has been about the fact that she's terminal and she doesn't know how much time she has left. And like clearly no one did because everybody thought or like, we as the audience thought, Haruki thought, Sakura thought that
Yeah.
she was going to die of this terminal disease that she had when what actually ended her life was just a random act of violence.
Well, and it very much connects to something that she had said earlier in the movie too, where she's talking to Haruki and it's like you could die at any time too, right? Like,
Yeah.
technically, and you could die tomorrow. And so it's like really highlighting that it's like, oh, we thought we knew when she was going to die for sure, or how she was going to die, and that was
And
even
we
wrong,
didn't.
right? And so I think it was really emphasizing that point and relating to it, but also I think it was sort of necessary in a way because she kept her secret.
Mm-hmm.
Like, with one exception that we find out, that happens later, like pretty much nobody except Haruki and her family knew
Yeah.
that she was going to die anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So for most people that knew her, it was like, no, this is just a random tragedy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like a victim of senseless violence. And so they never, even in death, like she never got that pity,
Yeah.
like that she was so
Yeah,
hesitant.
which she never would have wanted.
Yeah. So it's like, in a way, it's kind of, I don't want to say good, but, but she did get to kind of keep that and
Mm-hmm.
keep like this image of herself and not have people, right? Because like clearly toward the end, she was going to start deteriorating.
Yeah, and people were gonna like she was going to have to reveal it eventually, and like
Yeah.
yes, this is horrible, but also she didn't have to go through that.
Yeah. Well, and like people's last memory of her isn't her in a hospital bed, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
looking sickly and all that kind of stuff. It's like, no, she was this young, beautiful girl and was taken suddenly. And so they remember her as she was and probably as she wanted to be remembered.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's again good, for lack of a better word.
Mm-hmm. But we learn what the favor was that she asked of her mother because Haruki, even though he skipped the funeral, he decides to go like I'm not exactly sure what like Japanese funerary customs are, but people will have like an altar in the
Mhm.
house, and he decides to go like leave an offering or something
Mhm.
along those lines.
Mhm.
And he asks Sakura's mother if he could read her diary because he knows that she kept one. And Sakura's mother breaks down. She's like, "Oh my god, like it's you! Like she
Mhm.
told
Like,
me
oh,
that
what
there
does
was
that mean?
exactly." But Sakura's mother says that Sakura told her there was probably going to be somebody who was like, too upset or afraid to come to the funeral, but who would 100% come back for that. And
Yeah,
she was
which is
right.
wild. She knew him so well.
She
Like,
really did know him incredibly well.
he's gonna be too afraid to go to the funeral because he doesn't want all those people like judging him and talking about him, right? All those things that he hates. But yeah, no, he's definitely gonna. It's first of all, it's a book. He loves those things. But second of all, it's this specific book, and he knew the title, which was an important factor apparently.
Yeah,
because it was kind of at this point in the movie where I was like, why didn't Sakura just tell her mom his name? And I was like, oh my god, we still don't know his name.
Exactly. But that was the favor, was to give him her diary, and he sits down to read it, and he sees all the these things that she's written about the kind of adventures that they've gone on, but there's a farewell letter to him at the back of the book, and as there's a voiceover of Sakura reading that letter, I loved that the background, the animation style changes and the background becomes all stars and planets to look like the Little Prince.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very sweet. And she concludes her letter by writing, "I want to eat your pancreas," which kind of confirms that she did get that last text from him.
But you gotta wonder when she wrote that, though.
Because the
window would have been too short. She was supposedly on her way there when he sent that message. She would have had to have written it before that.
I was thinking oh, she saw that text and was like, "Oh, that's perfect. Let me write this down."
Well, no, because she already left.
This is true.
That's the thing. I think that's even sweeter that they both, first of all, they both had that phrase, "I want to take a page from your book."
Yeah,
that
that was
had
really
originally
sweet.
Typed and then deleted, and she had in the letter, so she couldn't have known that. But also, I think that she had written that letter well in advance because she didn't know when when it was going to happen, and she wanted to be prepared. And when she texted him, she was like, "Yeah, I just left the house." Right? She was already on her way, so it would have had to have been written. Which again, I think makes it even sweeter that they both thought of that.
Yeah. And this was fucking heartbreaking that he turns to Sakura's mom and he says, "You're probably the wrong person to ask, but can I cry now?"
She's
oh my god.
Well, I get it. That's her mother. I would feel like I'm imposing. I'm like, this is so much worse for you.
Yeah.
So I feel bad. It's yeah, if you gotta cry, you gotta cry.
But this is when we finally learn the significance of Haruki's. This is where we as the audience finally learn Haruki's name. And with the significance that Haruki means spring tree, which goes very well with Sakura and cherry blossoms.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it explains why she looks so surprised on the train when he shares his name.
But I thought the ending of this movie fit really well because there have been a couple instances where Sakura mentioned she was like, "Oh, I wish you would get along with Kyoko."
Yeah.
And the ending of this movie is Haruki kind of reaching out to another person for the first time.
Yeah. So in a way, he is taking a page from her book by trying to be more like her, but also specifically with the person that she wanted him to be friends with, who clearly hates him.
But
which, by the way, she shouldn't be mad at him. He was just honoring Sakura's wishes by not telling her. But
yeah, whatever. I can understand why she's mad, but
but she shouldn't be mad at him.
Yeah.
Whatever, they're teenagers.
They are teenagers. So what did you think of it? What's your overall?
First of all, did you see the end credit scene?
Oh my god, there was an end credit scene?
There was a post-credit scene.
Oh my god, no, what was it?
I don't know what, I just instinctively always check just in case. I didn't think there was going to be, but in a way it sort of mirrors the diary where he thinks it's over, but then he skips past blank pages and there's more. So so there's a post-credit scene a year later, and it's Kyoko and Haruki at her gravesite. Aww. And they're friends.
Oh,
and she's still sort of antagonistic toward him, hits him on the back of the head and stuff like that. But they're chatting. They're clearly friendly. She gives him a piece of gum, and aww. He was like, "Oh, I didn't know you like gum." And she's like, "I've taken a liking to it lately." And he's like, "Uh-huh," essentially. And she's like, "Well, we're not going to start dating until after exams." so the guy who was always offering him gum, like
Mhm.
they're gonna be an item. But it ends with the two of them going to Sakura's house to see her mom.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah. So again, my instinct usually when I do that, it's for no reason. You know, skipping to the end, there's like never anything. And this time I was like, holy shit, no way.
Nice.
So they do in fact become friends.
Well, that is absolutely wonderful and makes the
Yeah.
movie better, in my opinion.
Yeah. And they are doing what Sakura's mom wanted, coming to the house, I assume for dinner and like but yeah, I mean, first of all, ouch.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was really interesting the way, and I sort of alluded to this earlier, but like we see almost the entire movie and from his perspective only, right? And like the way that he's thinking about things.
Yeah.
And when you get to the end in like this letter that she's written, the stuff in her diary, like it completely casts all those events in a different light. Because, from the perspective that we have, it's like, oh yeah, she's just like talking to him and hanging out with him because he's somebody who won't pity her and, doesn't care about her and that's easier and all that. But it's like, no, first of all, she was curious about him well before they encountered each other at the hospital, which I was kind of surprised by. But also like the way that she was learning from him in the same way that he was learning from her.
Yeah, I thought that was very poetic.
Yeah, because I honestly would not have seen things that way. But it's, she does use the phrase like they're yin and yang, right? That they are these two completely different people. And so it's like, yeah, they do have something to learn from each other because they are very different people. And I thought it was just really beautiful the way that she's like, yeah, when I learned that you cared about me, it was like I was an actual person for the first time and not just a reflection of the people I know.
I know. God.
Like, so it's kind of funny because when she talks about what life means to her in the hospital and about like relationships with people, it sounds like something that's like, oh, that's very beautiful. But in reality, she doesn't like that perception. Because then she doesn't see herself as an individual person who knows who she is, right? She's only a person based on how other people see her, whereas he doesn't want people to see him or have opinions of him at all. So I thought that was, and she says like that she thought at a few points she was in love with him. And so that changes things a lot. Like, just
definitely.
Hindsight reviewing things. So I thought it was very thought-provoking.
I would agree.
I guess in a lot of ways. Kind of about the nature of relationships and I definitely, a lot of what she had written in her book, like very much resonated with me because I've always had friends, but again, I love books and loved kind of having independent time. And it's like, yeah, I couldn't just be around people all the time. I need time for self-reflection and to find out who I am as an individual. I've always been very independent in that way. So for somebody like her, like I could never live like that, where you're just constantly around people all the time and you don't have that time to yourself to figure out who you are on your own. Right. So like that level of popularity and all that, like I wouldn't want that. I need my me time. So I thought that was very beautiful that, at the end she finally figures out who she is a little bit as a person because of him.
Yeah, I thought this was a very, very good film. I think I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was very upsetting. Don't we have another upsetting one this month?
Yeah, I think Your Name is supposed to hurt too.
Is that, which week is that? Next week or the week after?
Next week.
Oh God.
So double header.
And I usually wait and watch the movies like right before the stream because I like it when they're fresh in my mind and I have like the emotions like still running high from them potentially. But But I was really not in the mood to watch something heart-wrenching today. I was like, man, I really got to force myself to sit down and watch this.
Oh no.
I was like, yeah, I clearly was not in the headspace for this today.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe next week I'll have to watch it in advance at a time when I feel like I am mentally prepared for it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like if I have anything else to say about this, because I feel like I do, but like nothing all that specific that I haven't already said is coming to me, you know?
Yeah. I feel like there are things, because it's interesting. I actually took very few notes on this.
I think I had more notes for this than I had for Paprika, but this was also
Paprika
significantly more accessible. Like this was a much more linear story.
Yeah, I mean, it took, but a normal amount of notes kind of up until the point where they started playing Truth or Dare in the hotel room. And I only made like 1 or 2 notes after that.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I feel like there's so many things to talk about because there's like so many kind of side things and people and stuff that we didn't even really talk about that I think are sort of significant. So it's interesting that there wasn't a lot to write down, and yet I feel like there's so much to, to pick apart with something like this. Yeah.
But yeah, as sad as this was, I did like it. I think it's a good film.
Yeah. I don't know that I'd watch it again.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
It's too sad. Like, I can appreciate the beauty of it, but I do not understand people that enjoy watching tragic things.
I kind of do to a degree, but I don't know. I don't know what that says about me as a person.
No, I just there are certain like tragic things that I've watched that just like haunt me, and I'm like, why do people want this? Like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I can't.
Here's the thing. That movie's sad. I don't think it's that good of a movie.
I don't care about the quality.
Okay.
It's upsetting.
Oh, it's deeply upsetting.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't, this is not a thing I want in my free time.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I do understand.
Yeah. So, perhaps after we finish this anime movie month, we can avoid these kinds of movies for the next when we
can definitely do that. Okay, what have we got going on? There is
an hour on that. By the way.
Surprising.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I had so much more coherent to say about this than I did about Paprika, because Paprika is the like sort of surrealist.
Yeah, this is reality.
Yeah.
The actual real world, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But okay, I believe there is Defenestration Hour on the Big Dumb Monsters channel tomorrow night. We've got Big Dumb Monsters coming up on Monday, Regrettable Reviews on Tuesday, Fighting with Friends Wednesday, and then back around to the stream on Thursday, where we're going to be talking about the movie Your Name, which apparently is also supposed to hurt. So tune back in for Sad Girl Hours.
I know. I'm just going to be sitting here crying.
Here's the thing, though. I think if Banana Fish didn't make either of us show up to the stream, like, actively in tears, I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Are you sure that didn't happen?
I'm sure it didn't, because I remember waiting for it, and it somehow never did.
I mean, I don't know if every week we did that, I was watching it right beforehand. It's possible that I did cry, but had stopped.
That's fair.
Yeah, by the time we started. Yeah.
And also Banana Fish is one of the animes I would like most highly recommend to like anyone else who will listen, because it's that good, but damn does it hurt.
It does, man. I'm not even thinking about the ending. I'm thinking about shorter.
I know. Okay, well, Sad Girl Hours
anime series.
I'm so sorry.
It's messed up, man.
Sad Girl Hours next week at 8 here on Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. Thank you to everybody who commented, who watched. We appreciate that. And we will see you next week. Adios, everybody.